I'm here with the new Lexus NX350 F Sport, and it competes with other luxury medium SUVs like the Mercedes GLC and BMW X3. I've been driving it for the last week with my family of three. Stay watching to see how it performed. It looks good, but how much does it cost? Well, the NX350 F Sport will cost you around $78,000 before on-road costs, which makes it significantly cheaper than its Merc and BMW counterparts. This has some great standard features, but we do have an optioned enhancement pack too, which adds a panoramic sunroof, digital rear view mirror, heated steering wheel, and an upgraded sound system. You could save yourself some cash if you weren't too fussed over having those, because it does cost an extra $4,615. But I did enjoy using those features this week. The full specs are in my written review at carsguide.com.au if you need more details. I was a bit worried that the inside would feel small, but I have loads of head, leg, and elbow room. The front feels very well proportioned, but I still feel like I'm getting tucked in by the car, which gives it a sporty vibe. Something that adds to that are these beautiful two-tone leather seats. They're a bit firmer than I prefer, but I love the heat and ventilation function and the lumbar support. But I was a little bit disappointed that it doesn't have an extendable under-thigh support at this price tag. The storage up front is pretty good for a car of this size, but I do feel like there should have been a little something extra on the passenger side, like a shelf or a little nook to put their phone and bits and bobs. I do like that underneath the wireless charging pad, there's a little hidden compartment for smaller items. The tech has been a little bit flustering at times. Now, it's easy to use once you get used to it, but it's not super intuitive initially. Where you expect there to be a button, it's a touchscreen or vice versa. Also, the 14-inch touchscreen multimedia system looks fantastic. And I love that it has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but the built-in satellite navigation was very handy this week too. The digital instrument panel looks really nice, but isn't super customizable. And the information that you would usually be able to see there is actually in the head-up display, which again took a little while to get used to. I have enough room back here for me and my 168 centimeter or 5'6" height. However, I would still consider these to be a 2-seater for everyday use and 3-seater for occasional use, because the seat is quite narrow. And over the weekend, I had my 6'2" brother and his girlfriend and my 6-year-old back here. It was very squishy. Well, for the adults at least. The amenities aren't as comprehensive back here as what you would hope for in a luxury model, but I do like the directional air vents, the 2 USB ports and 12-volt port, plus the map pockets on the backs of the seat. It's also great having the easy to clean trim and the dark headliner, especially in my family. I do have to mention the door handles though. I got used to them very quickly, but my 6-year-old did not and was not impressed with them. It was a running joke over the weekend with my family, for whoever sat in the back kind of got stuck in the back because it's a pump action E-latch, I think it's called. And I don't know, it's just a little bit dicky and awkward to use. I do prefer a hardier and easier to use style. There are ISOFIX child seat mounts on the outboard seats plus 3 top tethers, but you won't be fitting 3 child seats side by side. 2 will fit best. And there's just enough space for front occupants when a 0 to 4 rearward facing child seat is installed for my driving position. But if you're taller, might be a little bit too squished. The boot offers a great capacity at 520 litres, and I like the level load space because it makes it easy to slide gear in and out. There's a handy storage cubby underneath the floor for smaller items, and while I liked having the powered tailgate this week, it was a bit fiddly to operate from the key fob and from the button on the right-hand side of the driver's side. But it was handy having the kick function for the powered tailgate as well. This has a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder turbo-petrol powertrain with a maximum output of 205 kilowatts and 430 newton meters of torque. That's a pretty powerful engine for a mid-sized SUV. This one is an all-wheel drive, but there are front-wheel drive versions and a plug-in hybrid version if you're after a greener option. The 8-speed auto transmission is deliciously smooth, and combined with the powerful engine, this has been a very pleasant SUV to drive. I've really enjoyed driving this week. I like that even when you put your foot down, you don't feel like you're dipping into the power reserves. So on our Easter roadie, it was really easy to overtake all the slow moving caravans. I love my driving position in this because I have great visibility out of the windows and I feel really confident with where it starts and ends, meaning if you have to maneuver it quickly, it's easy to do. Despite not being super tall, there is some roll in this in corners. So I did have to change up my driving style, and I definitely didn't accelerate the same way out of a corner as I usually do because you do get a bit of wobble in the back. Something that I didn't love was the auto high beam function because it didn't turn off despite having heavy oncoming traffic. So I ended up turning it off completely because I was flashing people. The ride comfort is fantastic in this, and even backseat passengers complimented the ride. So the suspension is pretty darn forgiving. Because of its size, this is a breeze to park. And because the 360-degree view camera is so clear, it's very easy to navigate a tight city car park. If you can't see out the back because you've got a full load of gear, you can switch over to the digital feed in the rear view monitor, which helps a bunch. The official combined fuel cycle is 8.1 litres per 100 kilometres. My real world figure was 9.7 litres, so it is a bit thirsty considering how much open road driving I did this week. It also only has a 55 litre fuel tank, so you do feel like you're hitting that Bowser a little bit more often. As far as safety features are concerned, this has most of the items that I like to see on a family car. And a cool highlight is the safe exit assist. If the car detects oncoming traffic or an obstacle while you're trying to open your door, it will alert you via the dash. But Lexus goes one step further. If you still try and open your door, even though the obstacle is still detected, the car will lock you in. There could be something to be said about this. Terminator and Megan come to mind, but it's a cool feature nonetheless. Another great feature is the very clear 360-degree view camera, which makes your car invisible, which improves visibility and minuses distraction. The NX has been awarded a 5-star ANCAP safety rating from testing done in 2022, so it's nice and fresh. There are 8 airbags, including a newer front center airbag, but if you need more safety details, check out my full review at carsguide.com.au if you want more details. It's got the features, but what are the ongoing costs like? Well, this comes with a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty term, which is standard for the class. However, the NX only comes with a 3-year cap price servicing plan, which is below average for the wider market. Services are also just okay at $495 per service, but servicing intervals are reasonable at every 12 months or 15,000 kilometres, whichever occurs first. The Lexus NX350 F Sport is fun and sporty. It is on the smaller side for a medium SUV with a narrow back seat, so it will suit smaller families best, just like mine. I really loved how big the boot space was, and it was a perfect size for my gear and errands this week. I also loved the driving performance. However, there were some techie items and the cap price servicing program that irked me, so this gets a 7.5 out of 10 from me. My kid loved how cool it looked inside and how easy it was to get into the car, but he did struggle with those door handles this week, so this gets a 7 out of 10 from him. If you're after more details, check out my full review at carsguide.com.au. I'll see you next week.